It's now been over a year since I first started doing these top 10 videos, and I think it's high time to get back to basics. A few of my first top 10s were about the forgotten heroes of gaming, the experiences wrongfully lost to the sands of time. Today I'm bringing back that topic to spread the word about some of my favorite older games, and maybe show you something you haven't seen before. So without further ado, let's jump into the conclusion of the Forgotten Gems trilogy. Matrix Path of Neo is a sort of sequel to Enter the Matrix, a game that I've generally noticed is more known by the public than Path of Neo, for some weird reason. People remember this one, but not this one, which is really odd to me, seeing as you can't even play as Neo in Enter the Matrix. You get fucking stuck with Bimbo and Bozo over here. I never saw the second and third Matrix movies, but if this game is any indication at all, then man, that series must have gone off the fucking rails. Vampires? Are you serious? And please answer me this, at what point in the trilogy did Neo find himself fighting Kung Fu ants? Then there's the final boss, which is, of course, a giant Mr. Smith made up of other tinier Mr. Smiths. But I guess I can be sure at least that one didn't happen because the directors literally walk on screen before the finale just to tell you that they don't give a shit anymore.
Hi, I'm Andy Wachowski.
And I'm Larry Wachowski.
At this point, it's martyr time. Now, maybe that works in a movie, but in a video game, the Jesus thing is, well...
lame.
Really lame.
I actually kinda love that. And honestly, I love Matrix Path of Neo as well. Sure, it hasn't aged very well, it's not an action classic, it'll never rank up there with the likes of DMC, Bayonetta, or the Nightmare Before Christmas game, but this game has some pretty fucking sweet combat. I'm a sucker for a huge variety of like attack animations in games like these, and Neo was always doing something different, something just as awesome as the last crazy-ass combo he executed. Combine that with expectedly excessive shootouts, some parkour, and an on-the-go slow-mo button, and you get a game that does a surprisingly solid job of tapping into the Keanu Reeves inside of all of us. It really does make you feel like you're harnessing the raw badassery of Neo. Now just give me a proper John Wick game and I can die a happy man. As hard as it is to believe, there was a time in history when roller skating was a badass thing to do. I personally stuck with my skateboard and never transferred to the 8-wheeled demon, mostly because I always thought the hardest part of being a roller skater would be telling my parents that I was gay. Ha! 90s jokes! Speaking of 90s jokes, this game is one big 90s joke, but as much as roller skating sucks, Aggressive Inline distinctly does not suck. It's basically just a Tony Hawk game, but sometimes all you have to do is not be as bad as the last 15 Tony Hawk games. Much like in the Pro Skater series, you could play as world-famous skaters like Sven Bokhorst, Fito Yasutoko, Tig Chris, Tigris? What? Jaren Grob. Yeah, stop me when you've heard of one of these guys. But I'm sure those names mean something to somebody, so that's nice, I guess. Satisfied the hordes of Jaren Grob fans. The Grobbies, as they call themselves. Grobladites. Grobbins. Grobbins. For the uninitiated, such as myself, Aggressive Inline does in fact hold much more than just some names on some skates. There's arcadey action, wacky stages, hidden collectibles, insane combos that can last for minutes on end, and how long have I been showing footage of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4? On a slightly more serious note, 15 years after its initial release, I think Aggressive Inline might still be the best roller skating game ever made. Not really saying much with that, I know, but despite that, it is more than worthy of a spot on anyone's Forgotten Gems list. Go play it, it's a lot of fucking fun. Video games are fucking weird, and there's no clearer example of this than Super Monkey Ball 2. Now originally I was mostly going to be talking about the gameplay of SMB, but while I was writing the bit, I kept thinking back to whether or not these games, like, had a story. Why are these monkeys in balls? Why do they roll day and night? What cruel god hath wrought this madness? So I looked into it. I watched the whole story of Super Monkey Ball 2 on YouTube, and now I have to get all of this off of my chest. The epic tale of Super Monkey Ball 2 begins when our main monkey II and his monkey buddies are just doing their monkey things in their monkey village. Remember this, by the way, this village. So everything's nice and peaceful, but then along comes a harbinger of doom from the skies. Quake in fear, mere mortals, for you are in the presence of Dr. Bad Boon. Bad Boon then whips out his flaccid shipcock and sucks up everybody's bananas, and thus our hero's motivation. This is why they get in the balls. The people need those balls. Wait, are they people or are they monkeys? Make up your fucking mind! The monkeys summon their balls with a group chant, which kind of changes lyrically every time they do it, except for the ending. That's always I poo, so they conjure up their magic balls. Oh, fuck! What follows is a series of random encounters with Bad Boon, the first of which involves him basically trying to nuke a volcano, which is pretty fucking evil. This is then solved by the tough monkey punching the bomb into— oh my god! He's dead! You killed him! So then, of course, Bad Boon puts on a frog-shaped diving suit and hides in a shipwreck for a couple of hours. He almost slithers away, but alas! Ai and his benevolent baboons catch him at the last moment. A lot of other shit happens. They get eaten by a whale, they sing a song about how they're starving, and then, okay, one last thing. Bad Boon's hideout is apparently on Kiki Island, which is an empty human city formed into a monkey amusement park, but they lived in shacks earlier, like wooden shacks. I'm just trying to piece it together here. If I go into any more detail about this story, I think I will discover an ancient god or like a phrase that if I speak it, it will kill half the human population. So I'm just gonna stop now and leave you with this. You should play Super Monkey Ball 2. It's cool.
I thought this place was quarantined.
Area 51 is about as generic as they come. Don't blink or you might mistake it for that arcade light gun shooter, also titled Area 51, or maybe you'll mistake it for Area 51 Black Site, which I think is related to this game. Maybe. Who cares? Point is, I was so disinterested that I didn't even find the time to look that up. So if Area 51 is as generic as a 10-pound bag of white rice, why does it deserve a spot on this list? Akimbo assault rifles, that's why. Area 51 is a shooter that gets its guns right. They feel raw and powerful to wield. But if you're not into the brutal alien combat, Area 51 also has a star-studded cast to capture your attention. The main actors in play here are Powers Booth and the man who just can't escape those goddamn aliens, David Duchovny, who just sounds like he wants to go home.
Government conspiracies, secret weapon testing, aliens. I didn't believe any of it. Nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to encounter.
It also stars Marilyn Manson in the role he's been auditioning for 20 years, an ancient alien ghost. Not sure what else to say about that one. Area 51 isn't a revelation, but it's a damn entertaining affair and worth your time if you're into alien genocide, which, let's be honest, who isn't? Comic books and the characters therein have become more prevalent than ever in the last 10 years or so. We've had film adaptations of Kick-Ass, Netflix series centered around weird characters like Iron Fist and Jessica Jones, there was a Powers series, and yet Rogue Trooper still gets no love. Rogue Trooper is about a trooper named Rogue. Yes, his name is Rogue.
What do you say, Rogue?
And the story begins during the start of a full-scale invasion of New Earth, never heard that in a sci-fi story before, as Rogue and his Blue Man group gather for one last huddle before hopping in their decidedly rickety space pods to face off against the evil army of Norts. So they careen into the battlefield, and as you would expect of genetically engineered super soldiers, they all die in like 5 minutes. Some chest armor probably would have helped there, buddy. I get it though, you gotta show off those tight pecs. Oh man, those really are tight. I played this game when I was really young and never looked into it, so I only recently realized that this weird game about a jacked stick of chewing gum is actually based on an old-ass comic book that was co-created by Dave fucking Gibbons, the artist of Watchmen. Watchmen, guys. I've never read any of the comics, so I can't say if they're any good or not, but the game itself won a fucking BAFTA, so that has to say something about the quality of the game's script, at the very least. On the gameplay front, Rogue Trooper is a plain and simple shoot-'em-up. It looks and plays just like you'd expect a 2006 shooter to look and play. Despite not sticking its neck out and doing anything really unique with its mechanics, it is a damn fun time to mow down super fascists as this cotton candy-colored murder machine. Now, I assumed 2006 would be the last time I would ever hear anything about a Rogue Trooper game, but in this age of remasters, re-releases, and reboots, there's hope for even the most obscure games to reclaim the spotlight. I'm still waiting on that remaster of Grabbed by the Ghoulies. But much to my surprise, the original creators of the game seem to be doing a full remaster of Rogue Trooper from the ground up. Right now, there's not much to go on besides a single featurette that Rebellion has put out, which I will link to in the description. You should check it out, and if you're interested and actually have the means, you should try out the original game too, before the Blueberry Badass graces our screens once more in the coming months. Remember when you saw that first trailer for Dead Island? If you do, I'm sure you remember thinking, oh man, this is so emotional. And then you were thinking, oh, this is so tasteless. Dead Island was great in concept, but that concept was completely wasted until the arrival of a wonderful little game called Dying Light. Why doesn't everybody fucking love this game? 2 years later, and I still firmly believe that it is one of the most underrated action titles available on current-gen systems. Dying Light is a first-person parkour craft and kill that takes place in the fictional Turkish city of Harran, where you play as faceless white male protagonist number 533, Kyle Mayonnaise Crane. Really tired of these fucking white guys. The story itself is about as tropey as it gets, but at least it feels like somebody's trying, and it's not long before you realize that the story is secondary to becoming zombie Batman. By the end of Dying Light, Mayonnaise is equipped with a grappling hook, a wingsuit, multiple firearms, fucking ninja stars that explode, and an arsenal of weapons that he has MacGyvered up by like duct taping batteries to them and shit. And trust me, you're gonna need every fucking one of those things at your disposal in order to take down the crazy beasts you'll face off against, especially the ones that come out at night. You're gonna want to stay away from those guys, seeing as they come equipped with the most dangerous trait a zombie can have. They know parkour. I'm fairly confident that the world could deal with a slow zombie apocalypse. Fast zombies, not so sure. Parkour zombies, everybody's fucking dead. Luckily, everybody being dead lends to a great game environment. To this day, it's still a joy to explore the countless back alleys, broken down gas stations, and abandoned apartments of Harran. It's an extremely detailed setting that makes for a heck of an open world. Dying Light is the youngest game on any of my Forgotten Gems lists, which means it's maybe the most likely to get a sequel, so please guys, go out and buy The Dead Knight Rises. I have some great memories of the Skate series. Shit, one of my fondest gaming memories ever was sitting up until 2 AM with my buddy waiting on the release of the first Skate demo. We played that shit all night. That first little tiny park is burnt into my fucking brain. Skate is so amazing because it allows every human with a functioning pair of thumbs to experience the visceral thrills of skateboarding without the real-life inconveniences of skateboarding, like sweating or putting on shoes. Don't feel like walking those 15 feet back to where you started your run because you know you're gonna fuck it up again. All it takes in Skateland is the press of 2 buttons and your bed-sore-ridden ass is right back where you started. Scraped your knees trying to ollie down that 2-stair. I've been there. Fuck it, just boot up Skate and jump off a building. Count your broken bones. They reward you for that shit. Don't have the cojones to drop into that 20-foot-high half-pipe? We'll just pop in Skate and ride unimpeded by the laws of physics. That's something to behold, isn't it? Which brings me to another point. A common goal between most video game series is that they like to improve with every new edition. A great example of this is the Witcher series. They're not my favorite games in the world, but they showed notable progress with each iteration. If you think I'm about to talk about how Skate gets better, I'm not. It gets so much worse. By the time Skate 3 came out, this series had devolved into a fucking bubbling, white-hot cauldron of glitches, which is normally something that would drive me up the fucking wall. But with Skate 3, for some reason, I'm okay with this. It's so fucking baffling that it actually loops back around again to becoming endearing. Skate 3 just wouldn't be the same game without those putrid bugs. It wouldn't have the same flavor. It's an acquired taste. I don't blame you for not wanting to pick up a smoking dumpster fire of a game, so if any of this footage has piqued your interest, definitely check out Skate 2 as opposed to Skate 3. It's a significantly more polished product, and it certainly is the most wicked sick out of the 3. You're not really missing out on any grand feature editions with the third one. They're all kind of the same game, which surprisingly is not a bad thing, seeing as the core mechanics and ideas behind Skate are so solid and well executed that even the biggest skater haters can enjoy it. If you cut up every Kurt Russell movie from the 1980s and injected that shit directly into your biceps, you would turn into Vanquish.
What the fuck, man?
As implied, Vanquish is the video game equivalent of a cocaine high, meaning it's full of high-octane action and it makes you feel like you're the most badass motherfucker on the planet. Basically, this game was made for me. There is a whole button dedicated to smoking a cigarette while you're taking cover, and its only purpose is to make you look like you don't care what's happening right now. That shit is gloriously ridiculous, which, coincidentally, is exactly how I would sum up the entire game. Makes sense, seeing as Vanquish was created by Platinum Games, the company responsible for this magnificent moment in video game history.
Nanomachine, son.
Now, as for the plot of Vanquish, it is something, and it doesn't matter. What does matter is sliding around on your fucking super knees and backflip kicking a giant robot before shooting it in its goddamn laser mouth. You want crazy, satisfying sit-your-pants action? Vanquish certainly offers that. You want QuickTime events? Probably not, but we got some QuickTime events for your ass. You want mid-2000s walk-and-talk cutscenes? We got a lot of those. You want a memorable story and lovable characters? Maybe go somewhere else for that, because that's not what this testosterone bath is about. The best way I can describe it is that Vanquish is kind of like what a brawler would be if you could only use guns. So if that weird summation sounds cool to you, definitely check Vanquish out. It's even got a remastered PC port coming soon, so if you haven't experienced the exhilarating absurdity of this game, now's the time. Here's hoping for a late sequel. Like it or not, zombies are a part of our lives, and they probably always will be. There have been fucking countless zombie games, but no game about the fearsome undead has captured my heart quite like Walking Dead Survival Instinct. I'm totally kidding, we're talking about Stubbs the Zombie here. Stubbs was created in a different time. It kinda seems like the medium has kicked the self-seriousness into high gear ever since The Last of Us came out and made us all cry like baby bitches. If this game came out today, Stubbs would be a grizzled man with a dead zombie daughter, and I seriously doubt that he would have deadly flatulence. Which is a tragedy. If you're not immediately hooked by the comedy and the weird undeath of a salesman premise, the gameplay of Stubbs has plenty to offer as well. You spend a lot of the game doing what zombies do best, eating the fuck out of some brains. Doing so exponentially increases the size of your undead army, but due to the inherent flimsiness of zombie bodies, you'll need to constantly keep replenishing your forces. It's like Pikmin. Kind of. But you can do much more than just nibble on some innocent skulls. Stubbs comes equipped with a detachable hand, a bowling ball head, exploding kidneys, and of course, deadly farts. Even the boss battles are great. And I know what you're thinking, how do you even design boss battles in a game where you play as a shambling corpse? You don't! Fuck it! You just make a breakdance! Stubbs the Zombie is a hilarious romp through a ridiculous world, and it's packed with romance and a heart aplenty. It's a story that sticks with you, and it begs the question, who's the real monster here? Just because I mercilessly killed everybody that lived within a 20-mile radius of the site of my death, does that really make me the bad guy? Or is the real bad guy big business? Food for thought. Thoughts for food. First and foremost, the reason that this game is at the top of this list is because I have never met a single other fucking soul who has played this game. At this point, I'm starting to think that I made it up, like it's a ghost. Does Mark of the Ninja even exist? Can you see the footage that I'm playing right now? If not, you're really missing out because this game really does feel too good to be true. Mark of the Ninja is a 2D side-scrolling stealth game created by Klei, also known as the team that created all those games that you've heard are great, but just haven't really had the time to get around to yet. But this one, it's time to get around to this one, because this is one of the best indie games I have ever gotten my grubby little hands on. Mark of the Ninja is beautifully designed, both artistically and technically, and it's easily my favorite 2D game that isn't Mario is missing. But seriously, if you're into hardcore, challenging stealth games, this is the one for you. In Mark of the Ninja, you play as, I guess they never gave him a name, so I'm just gonna call him Mark. So you play as Mark of the Ninja, and it's your job to take down a villainous crew of gangsters who have kidnapped your dojo's secret ninja plants. It's not a super complicated or deep story, but that's more than made up for by the tight controls, the plethora of unlockable abilities, sick-ass ninja costumes that essentially function as gameplay modifiers, and a bevy of upgradable gadgets to take out your cartoonish foes, including, you guessed it, the world-famous cardboard box. If it's good enough for Big Boss, it's good enough for Mark. Point is, Mark of the Ninja is a great fucking game, and Mark himself more than deserves to sit amongst the pantheon of top-tier game ninjas, alongside Ryu Hayabusa, Raiden, and the Ninja Monkey from Time Splitters. If you've made it this far into this nonsensical video, then you owe it to yourself to seek this one out and play it, because it's more than a forgotten gem, it is a forgotten masterpiece.